Some important news went down yesterday. Mike Evans is returning to the NFL for his 13th season, but is it to the Bucs? That's what we're going to talk about on today's show. You're watching Bucs Breakdown by Chat Sports. My name is Reed Barkus, and this is why you subscribe. Whenever big news goes down, like Mike Evans returning to the NFL for his 13th season, but potentially with a different team because he wants to explore options in NFL free agency, we're going to make a video. When news happens, we make a video about it, 100% free. So make sure you hit the subscribe button, and let's get into today's video. What's going on, Bucs fans? Especially ones named Mike. Anybody named Mike that's a Bucs fan is probably like, whoa, what's going on right now? You're watching Bucs Breakdown by Chat Sports. My name is Reed Barkus. And yes, Mike Evans is returning for his 13th season, but he will be exploring options in NFL free agency. I made a short about this yesterday, and I sort of had to collect my thoughts a little bit about what this really means for the Bucs, and we're going to get into that on today's show. And then second part of the show is going to be, should the Bucs sign this veteran edge rusher that got released by another NFL team? Those are the two things we're talking about today. Like I said, you're watching Bucs Breakdown. My name is Reed, and yes, he is coming back for his 13th season in the NFL, but we are unsure if it's going to be with the Buccaneers. Now, Mike Evans was a free agent a couple years ago, back in 2024, and we did give him an extension, and that extension is up. And according to Kimberly, he will return in 2026, but his agents, Deryk, Gilmore, and Darren Jones, told Kimberly that he will explore options in free agency. Now, I understand this, but I'm kind of torn right now. I'm like, yes, I want Mike Evans back on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because he's a legend. He's a Hall of Fame playmaker. When he's on the field, he is absolutely unbelievable. But he's not always on the field, and I'll get to that in a little bit. But I'm torn. I want him to come back to the Bucs, but he's not always healthy. And I feel bad saying this because he's a legend. He's a legend in the NFL. He's a legend in Bucs history, and he will go down in Bucs history for being one of the best wide receivers on this in franchise history. But he's not always on the field. 8 games last year, 14 games the year before, and he still has unbelievable production, which is why I do want him to come back to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But I understand him going to NFL free agency and seeing if he can get maybe some more money and maybe win another championship with a different team. But like I said earlier, guy misses some time, and he's missed some time his entire career. And last year, broken collarbone with a concussion and his hamstring, he missed a total of 8 games. 2024, a hamstring injury as well, missed 3 games. 2021, missed a game with a hamstring injury. 2019, missed 3 games with his hamstring injury. And then 2014, 2015, a combined 2 games missed. When he's on the field, he's great. But recently, he's not been on the field. And I don't want everyone in the comments being like, well, it's Mike Evans. Of course he's going to come back. I think so too, but you never know. He could maybe go somewhere like the Buffalo Bills or the New England Patriots or even the Pittsburgh Steelers and be like, hey, I can get a certain amount of money for maybe a 2 or 3 year deal because a different team gives me that. I think the Bucs, I don't want to say it's a blank check because you can't really have a blank check, but I obviously want Mike Evans to stay in Tampa, but I understand that he wants to maybe pursue something elsewhere. No, I think he's a legendary wide receiver, and I think it would be even more legendary if he stayed with one franchise, the franchise that he was drafted by, like Calvin Johnson, like Larry Fitzgerald. It's sort of like a franchise guy where he can come back to One Buc Place, and he can come back to the city of Tampa, and they're going to love him. I think we're going to love him either way, but it just solidifies his career and longevity of being the best Bucs receiver. I mean, he's going to be a legend no matter what, and I want him to stay, but I understand that he wants to go see what's going on in NFL free agency, and this happened back before we gave him an extension, and I think he's going to stay, but you let me know. Do you want the Bucs to re-sign Mike Evans? If you're like, No, I mean, he's getting a little bit older. He's injury history. Maybe we move on. That's why we drafted Emeka Egbuka. But if you're like, no, I think he should come back for his 13th season with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, type your Ys. If you said no, type your Ns. Let me know down in the comment section. I'm going to give you my answer just right here. I think Mike Evans should resign with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I've thought about this for a while. He is a Buck for life. And I understand that he wants to go talk about free agency and see what he can get on the open market. But let's all be real with ourselves. I think he's going to be a Buccaneer for life. Now, what that deal will look like, I don't know, because does he want to come back for a one-year deal? We've seen the injury history that Mike Evans has had, but maybe it's a 2-year, maybe $22 million year where, hey, you can play that last year, but if you just want to play for your 13th season, that's totally okay too. So I think Mike Evans is going to be a Buck, but we'll have to see what happens in NFL free agency. Now, next up on the show, should the Bucs sign this veteran edge rusher? If you're in tap with the NFL, what's going on with the Miami Dolphins, they released a lot of players from their roster in the past couple days, especially on Monday, I believe. So if you know what's going on, this mystery player is Bradley Chubb, the edge rusher from the Miami Dolphins, previously with the Denver Broncos. And he was released by the Miami Dolphins on Monday, according to NFL. And they totally just started rebuilding their entire roster. Like, yep, Tyreek's gone. Potentially Tua maybe could be gone in the next couple weeks or so. Or they're trying to trade him. But I don't know if anyone wants to trade for Tua Tagovailoa. But they are releasing Bradley Chubb. And my first thought was, could he be a Buck? Bless you, Jeremy. Could he be a Buck? I mean, a couple, Pewter Report has been talking about this as well. And they beat me to it. But I mean, he had 8.5 sacks last year, and he had a very good bounce-back season. But he is 29; he'll be 30 when he gets into the next season. So, should the Bucs go after another veteran veteran edge rusher? And I don't want to say this feels like Hassan Reddick, but a little bit it feels like Hassan Reddick, because do you want to take a risk at a guy who, yes, had a good season, but he missed 2024 with he missed the entire season with an ACL injury. So could he? I don't know. I'm going back and forth on this. The bounce back in 2025 was very impressive. 8.5 sacks, like I said. But can that be replicated going into a year where he's 30? And I think this is the last year where he can get a good amount of money and a good deal where he can kind of cash in on his last year of having that maybe a little bit more explosiveness going into his 30-year-old season. But I think we need all the edge help we can get, so that's why I'm making this video. I mean, it's rumors. It's not like anything, the Bucs are definitely interested in Bradley Chubb. This is more of like hey, we need edge help no matter what. Let's talk about some free agent edges, especially when one gets released on Monday. So Yaya Diaby and Servassier Dennis are really the only like solidified linebackers in there. You could say Chris Braswell, but he's more of an edge. Hassan Reddick's a free agent. We're not bringing him back. If we're bringing in Bradley Chubb, we're definitely leaving Hassan Reddick. So Levante David, we don't know his retirement status. Is he going to retire? Is he not? But I mean, you have to think about Bradley Chubb, and should the Bucs make an offer now? What would that offer look like? A potential contract coming off an 8.5 sack season in 2025. He could be looking for a larger multi-year deal, sort of like what I was saying. When you have such good production, I think it was over double-digit sacks the year before in 2023. So he's trying to cash in, but I was talking to our Bears host, who's very in tune with contracts and stuff like that. He was sort of in my range of could be around $12 to $15 million a year, whether that be 3 to 4 years or maybe like a 1-year prove-it deal, and then you see what happens from there. Maybe you re-sign him or something like that. But I think he's looking for a multi-year deal, and I'd rather go in the draft. Now, I'm not saying that Bradley Chubb would not be a great addition to this defense. I'm thinking he's going to be a little bit too expensive with the amount of needs we need on the defense and a little bit on the offense. Not really, but more the defensive side of the ball, I'd rather go get a guy in the draft like these 4 guys right here. If you think about it, these 4 guys are a lot cheaper than what Bradley Chubb's going to be. They're younger, and this draft has a lot of good edge targets, linebacker targets. So if you go with a Cassius Howe or a Keldrick Folk out of Auburn, TJ Parker has been making his way up the draft boards recently. He's from Clemson. And Akeem Mesidor as well. If he's there at pick 15, I mean, there's a lot of options here. So you could make that risk and go with a Bradley Chubb, or you could make a different risk and go with a younger, cheaper option out of the NFL draft, because that's what you do with the NFL draft. You go find guys who can immediately make an impact on your team. And when you got a plethora of edges like the 2026 NFL draft this year, I think you go that route rather than Bradley Chubb. So let me know in the comment section, would you sign Bradley Chubb type S for pass, type P, or, oh my goodness. Come on, it's early in the morning, sorry. Type S for sign, type P for pass. Let me know down in the comment section. I'll give you my answer just coming up right here. No, thank you. No offense to Bradley Chubb or his production or anything, but I'm okay. I think we do need help in the edge department, but I think he's going to be a little bit too expensive for what we're looking for. And not that 12 to 15 is that crazy expensive, but I think we have to be smart in free agency and know where to target. And, you know, maybe he wants to stay in Florida for that in-state or that no tax, but I'm okay. You let me know in the comment section, though. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. I don't really know what's going to go on in free agency, what Jason Licht and the Glazers are going to do, and, you know, Todd Bowles and who they're going to bring in, who they're going to let go. But, hey, we'll have you covered, so make sure you hit the subscribe button. 100% free. Once again, my name is Reed Barkis. Thank you for watching to the end of the video, and as always, fire the cannons.